This is information about the waiting list process in the VSpark volunteer system. We're going to demonstrate how it looks to your volunteers and then what kind of controls you have as an administrator. Let's first look at getting someone on the waiting list, what it will look like to your volunteers. Now I'm logged in as an administrator, so I'm changing a volunteer's assignments. And let's take a look at this general volunteer. They're going to select our sample charity event, and they are going to now select an assignment for this setup day. As you can see here, forklift driver is in a waiting list. If they select that one, it becomes very obvious that they're in a waiting list, and they can alternately select another assignment if they want. They'd like to come that day anyway, so they'll be just a general volunteer if there's no openings for the forklift driver. So you also have this alternate setup thing here that you can do. Answer their assignment questions. Now, if they are pulled off the waiting list, in other words, if a forklift driver in front of them that has the assignment cancels, the next person in line by order of when they signed up is automatically moved off the waiting list and assigned. And they get a text message and an email. If you've signed up for texting, they'll automatically get a text message and an email alerting them that this has happened. And then as the administrator of the system, you'll also be notified at the end of the day how much of that went on. Let's look at a sample report. There's a waiting list details report. You can see that we do have an assignment that is in a waiting list or status or is a full assignment. Maximum volunteers for the forklift drivers 1. We currently have 1. And we have 1 person on the waiting list. We can click here to view that waiting list, and we find out that this guy has the assignment on Wednesday, and his assignment on Thursday is general volunteer. And this primary guy's assignment, you can see he is on a waiting list and he has selected an alternate assignment. Right now we're also giving you the date and time that he signed up. That is in the date and time of the clinic and local time zone there. And so that you can see, it's obvious to you who has signed up first, but the system will handle pulling the next person off automatically. What you're also able to do is take a look at their schedule in a little more detail, and you can then remove that waiting list. This will just assign that guy. As an administrator, you can put anybody in even though there's waiting list process set up. So you can remove that waiting list and it will just make him the second forklift driver. Or you can do the promotion. You can click this button over here and that will move the general volunteer into the primary assignment. Some groups will do that toward the end of the registration, when your event is coming up, maybe it's 3 or 4 days beforehand, and you're pulling everybody off the waiting list so that they're sure they know what their assignment is. So you could do this. You could promote them. Now their primary assignment is general volunteer, and then you could send that volunteer an email notifying them of what their current schedule is if you wanted to go through and do this with 3 or 4 or 100 of your volunteers. All right. So now if you look at the waiting list report, you'll see that there is no one waiting because we promoted that person off of it. In your messaging, you can see the texting template that will be sent. Text a waiting list change. This is the text that will be sent them. You have been moved off the waiting list. Please check your email for details. So you have control. You can put in here what that event is, all kinds of stuff that you can put into that message. In fact, here's a list of all the things that you can, as tokens, you can put into that text message, all kinds of stuff. And your email is the same way. You've got an email template for the waiting list email if they've been pulled off the waiting list, and you can look at that. You can insert images and so on. All right, so that's how the waiting list process works.